What is up, guys? Coming to you from the boat today. I was out here practicing for a tournament. Thought it'd be a good opportunity since I'll probably be throwing a spinnerbait a good bit this weekend to kind of show you the setups that I use for throwing a spinnerbait. I'm no pro, but I throw a spinnerbait a lot, make a lot of spinnerbaits, sell a lot of spinnerbaits, and it's just been a bait I've depended on for years since I was a kid. So a couple things you always want to look for in a spinnerbait rod is, number one, to get a rod that fits you. Sometimes guys like different rod lengths depending on how tall you are. Sometimes I'm about 6 feet tall, maybe average height, maybe slightly above average, but for a standard spinnerbait, which I would consider like a 3/8 or half-ounce spinnerbait, I like a 7-foot rod, medium heavy. And if I was going to lean one way on a taper, for me personally, I would lean with a little more flex in the rod. So what that's saying is I don't want a super stiff medium heavy rod. You can get different actions: fast, extra fast, moderate, it goes on and on. Me personally, when I get bit, I kind of like to let the fish get it and then I hit them pretty hard. So I don't need a super stiff rod. Some guys that may not set the hook as hard, you might want a medium heavy rod with a faster action, which meaning it doesn't flex as much when you set the hook, so therefore you get more penetration with less effort. So this is my standard setup. It's a custom rod. This is a 7-foot medium heavy, and it's just got like a standard taper, not super heavy, not super light, just a good all-purpose rod, which it's probably like the standard rod you could go to Walmart, like just getting started and buying, is a 7-foot medium heavy. Now when I'm throwing a lighter spinnerbait, I do downsize my rod. This is a Cashin Icon, which I really like for this particular spinnerbait. It's a little 1/4 ounce spinnerbait we make. Throw it on a river a ton, and it's just a light little spinnerbait, a lot easier to backlash and get caught in the wind. So there's a couple things you can do there to prevent that. On the river and stuff, we're throwing under a lot of trees and underhand sidearm casts and getting in tight little spots. So the first thing that helps you with that is downsizing the rod a little bit lengthwise, and this one here is a 6'9", so that's perfect for a little river spinnerbait rod. Another thing I like to do on my smaller spinnerbait rod is get a rod with a lot more give in it. Not quite like a crankbait rod, but similar to what you'd have action wise in a chatterbait rod. And the reason being is because on a lot of those trickier casts where you're rolling underhand and this and that, you can kind of use that flex in that rod, once you get good, to kind of catapult that bait up into where you need it if you're trying to get under a limb or this or that. So smaller spinnerbait, downsize my rod to a 6'9". Again, it's still a medium heavy, but this rod has a lot more give in it, which isn't a big deal because, like I said, I tend to let them kind of suck it in and then hit them pretty hard. Everybody's different in their preference. So if I go up to a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, which I don't throw a ton here in Ohio, but if I go to Dale Hollow or somewhere with some bigger fish and you want to fish a spinnerbait deeper in the column, I will go probably to a 7.3. It's just the same rod, the custom rod that I had built. I don't have a particular brand I use constantly. I have a few cash-ins and a couple other particular like technique specific rods that I've held on through the years. But a bigger, heavier spinnerbait, upsize that rod a little bit and upsize that line. Standard for these, I'll throw 15-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon. If you go up to a 3/4 ounce, you could get by with 15, but you might want to go up to 20-pound fluorocarbon. So that's kind of my basic setup for spinnerbait fishing. Not super complicated. Spinnerbait is a fun bait. When they're on it, it's really fun. Sometimes it gets a little tough. It's a very conditional bait. You want a little breeze blowing like there is out here today, you're going to get a lot more bites on it. So if you're just getting into spinnerbait fishing, I hope this might help you out a little bit. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and please take a second to subscribe to our channel if you would also. I appreciate it. All right guys, have a good day. We'll see you next time.